Hello, my name is Simon and welcome to AFCB Analysis. Here's my take on our agonising 1-0 defeat at Old Trafford. Well, another positive is that again we played a top 6 side and we ran them incredibly close. Defensively we looked solid despite playing a 4-4-2 formation, well 4-4-1 if you want to be pedantic, but ultimately it was 4-4-2, which proved me completely wrong. When I was walking up to the ground in the horrible sleet, I have to admit when I saw the team I kind of wanted just to turn back, but proved me completely wrong. Harry Arter and Dan Gosling, they weren't technically at a high level, but in terms of effort, work rate, they couldn't be faulted, and the whole team was pretty much of that level. We restricted Man United to just 2 shots on target. Their first goal came out of nothing really, and yeah, I mean I think the team proved that they can get out of this slight mess that they're in at the moment, and if we put in solid performances like that, eventually we're going to get a result against one of the big teams. It's just a matter of time. Well, obviously the biggest negative is the loss. Man United were really there for the taking. They were insipid throughout, really poor, and you could feel the game was right there. In the second half we started it sluggishly, and I thought the second killer goal was coming, but it didn't, and then we just dominated the last 15 minutes, thanks in a large part to Eddie Howe's subs. Jermaine Defoe came on, looked lively, Benik Afobe looked up for it also, and of course Lewis Cook came on, and he just gave us a bit more forward momentum in terms of from midfield, because Harry Arter and Dan Gosling, they looked a bit afraid at times to play a forward pass. Especially Arter, he looks completely different to how he was maybe a season or 2 seasons ago. You could see there were moments where he could have played a forward pass, but he bottled it and just passed it back, and then eventually we lost all momentum. So yeah, I think I would have liked to see Lewis Cook subbed on earlier, especially as Gosling and Arter were both on bookings, so the fire went out of their games a bit after that point. But yeah, it would have been nice to see Lewis Cook on earlier, but really we did enough to get a point on balance of play. It's just we can't keep being unlucky against the bigger sides. Eventually we've got to get a point in one of these games to make this new defensive setup that we're trying, or defensive outlook, work. And also it would be nice to see Francis dropped for Steve Cook, who is obviously a far better player than him, but for some reason Eddie Howe has it in his head that he can't drop Francis despite him being the captain, when he's clearly not. He is a weak link, but just like Steve Cook is better than him, so it doesn't make any sense for Francis to still be in the team, and he needs to get out. As much as I love the guy, there are better players, so the better players need to play. The ugly was without doubt the weather, which was possibly the worst I've ever experienced at a football match. Walking up, I was fully kitted out, coat, scarves, gloves, didn't matter, still soaked to the bone, frozen like ice. When I walked up the steps into the stands, there was snow falling from the sky. Obviously it wouldn't fall from anywhere else, but yeah, it was just horrible. And when you see it on the highlights, it's just like the rain just pouring off the players. You could see the steam rising off them. The weather was really grim. Yeah, it's grim up north, and it definitely was on Wednesday night. The best moment for me was at the end, where pretty much everyone didn't leave full-time whistle, and instead applauded all the players and the staff, because I think they recognised that we put in as good a performance as we possibly could. We just lacked a little bit of cutting edge. I mean, people were saying De Gea had an amazing game, but he didn't have too many hard saves to make. All his saves were pretty regulation, but we just needed just one of those chances to be a slightly better one, and maybe it would have been converted, because we did look up for it, and I think on another day we would have got a point in that game, and it's very disappointing that we didn't, especially considering the next 2 games we've got. But if we play like that and have a bit more of a cutting edge against Liverpool, we have a good chance of getting a result in that game. So yeah, no one's got in touch. I thought this would happen eventually, but yeah, it was a bit of a miserable game in terms of weather, and it's a bit miserable in terms of the responses. But you can get involved in future videos by following AFCB Analysis on Twitter and Facebook. The URLs are here. And yeah, before or after games, let me know your thoughts. For this video, comment, like, subscribe to the channel. It really helps a great deal. I also write about Yahoo Sport for Bournemouth, and my latest piece on the Man United game is below. A link to it is below, so please do check that out as well. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and up the cherries in all departments.